Wilfred.
You've been practicing a lot?
Encore.
Well, I've been playing, you know, with that new stride thing, you know.
Where?
Yeah.
Great.
You know, and it's larger.
What's the stride thing?
When are you going to turn that on? You're just going to keep on naming that at me.
It's a new era, John. You better get used to those.
You get the sound of it too? Yeah. I'm immortalized. No, I'm immortalized.
You're still taking pictures again? You know I don't take a good picture.
Well, you tell a good story.
That's about all.
Did you see that of Grandpa when he was at Yale Medical School? You get it?
Yeah.
And me with Edna, two little damsels in distress.
Which one's you?
Straight.
You were
I was
that
there.
young.
That's Gladys Weisbach. You know my cousin Gladys?
What were you just talking about?
Oh, my grandparents.
922 Howard Avenue. And who lived on each floor?
Yeah. I used to go and visit Grandma on Saturday morning
I remember
remember.
your mother.
when they came back from
The
school.
first day of school,
No, wait a
we
minute.
waved goodbye.
What?
My mother and myself, we were waving to Estelle goodbye. Goodbye. See you later. First day of school.
She was so scared.
What grade was she going into?
Oh,
What
she was so
grade?
shy.
First grade.
First grade.
Oh, was she scared?
And then there was
You
no.
weren't going to school. Were
He
you
was a
playing
year
rugby?
younger. He's a year younger.
I'm younger than your mother.
You had kindergarten to go to.
And
We
you
didn't
know,
have kindergarten then.
there was no fourth grade at the Webster
Why
Street School.
not?
So
Did you go to Webster School too?
Yeah.
I did too. We had Mr. Clark as principal.
Mr. Clark.
That's right.
Clark.
Clark as principal.
Yeah.
See,
Clark
go
or
ahead. I got a memory.
One day, two teachers were talking together, and I had to walk in between. There was no, I couldn't sneak it any other way, so I walked in between. They pulled me back, and they said, "When you walk between two people, you should say excuse me."
That's
I
cute.
did. And do you remember the stamps they used to sell?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
give you a book.
That's right.
Uncle Wilfred.
Oh, I love it.
Uncle Wilfred,
I
do
loved
you
it
remember
too.
when you and Mom were fighting over a glass of milk and Ma was making something out of velvet on the kitchen table and the milk fell over?
Poppy came over that night, and I hid under the bed, and he had a strap off. God bless him.
Yeah,
and
Mark.
Mother had to
He had
run
a
away
strap
too?
off. He used to,
Mom ran
tried to
up to her
get me out.
grandmother's
yeah.
and hid there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Your
God.
mother took part of the blame that I did.
It's nice to reminisce like that, isn't it? It's beautiful. It all seemed to come back to you after a while.
I hit the maid once, and there was a sink full of blood. In the
Oh my God, what'd you do?
Hit her.
Why'd you?
Oh, I was a
Sink
kid,
full
you
of
know, like
blood.
all kids do, you
What'd you hit her with?
know. My fist.
Not all kids do it.
What prompted that?
Oh, I don't know, some little argument. Who eats the cheese, or
There was a sink full of blood? Whose blood was
she
it?
had a
His blood.
my blood.
How old were you?
Oh, Jesus. Old enough to know better. How old was I? That was the new house. That was on McKinley Avenue. I was about 10 years old.
Who was the maid? What was her name?
I know.
He should remember
Well, I
that.
remember Nan Barrymore. Did you remember Nan Barrymore?
Oh, I'll tell you something. Your mother, we had a maid called Louise. She ever tell you about that?
No.
I think I remember
Louise
her.
Weil.
I think I remember her.
Yeah. And she taught your mother,
Yeah.
my sister,
Yeah.
Estelle,
Yeah.
how to dance the Charleston.
How to dance the Charleston?
Yeah. And she taught them how to dance the Charleston. That was before I met you, Dad. Oh, you know what? I heard her play the piano when I was 10 years old or 9 years old. And after she got through playing, I said, "That stinks." I walked out. You know how kids are.
I came to visit, and we
So,
went.
so you knew each other when he was only 10?
Our
Yeah.
grandmothers were in the same bridge club. Mrs. Bernstein.
Did you know that?
Oh, I remember Mrs.
And my
Bernstein. She was a
grandmother,
nice
Mrs.
woman.
Dora.
Oh, she was wonderful.
Were in the same bridge club. And my father tutored Poppy at Yale Medical School
In what?
in whatever they had to do for medical, for an anatomy or something.
And doctoring.
How to take temperature.
And
Your father was a doctor?
graduated from Yale too. And oh God, you're not going to recall.
Uncle,
Keep talking.
He's recording everything.
So that, and also because my father's sister, Aunt Anna, Edna's mother,
My aunt.
married Uncle Nate, I was
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
related
Yeah, that's
before
right.
I married
Aunt
her. I
Anna.
knew everybody. So that I,
Related before you.
yeah, I mean, I was, Uncle Nate was my uncle before I married Will.
and he's my
It's
uncle
legal
too.
though, isn't it?
Very.
When you marry. It's legal, yeah.
So all one big family.
And then Poppy and
You
your
got that.
grandmother used to come to our house and when we lived in Boston after the Yale-Harvard games because my father never missed a Yale-Harvard game. And when it was in Boston, I think Poppy would come frequently. And my mother would always invite them. And I think...
Before you got married, you mean? Or
Yes, yes, when I was a kid.
Oh.
And when and Uncle Lou, I think Uncle Ben and Aunt Etta would come
Would
too
come
if they
too.
were there, yeah. And my mother always entertained them for dinner at our house, so I knew them, and I knew Diana when we were little kids too. So
Miss Buckets. We were
when
all
I
Miss
go to a
Buckets.
party, I'm related to everybody at the party.
That's
You know what Michael
Dora,
said? You know what Michael
Goldman.
said when he went to that party on July 4th? He said, everybody there had 3 names. They had the same 3 names. They were all related to each other twice.
Goldman, Dora.
Stan, Dora, Dorothy.
Yeah. And my cousin Suzanne, who's 20 years younger than I am, had the same grandmother. We have the same grandmother.
Oh yeah.
And the grandmother
That's the
who was
cat.
the close friend of Will's grandmother. Your great grandmother.
Yeah. What was Mrs. Bernstein like?
Oh, she was lovely.
'Cause I don't
They lived
know.
on
I don't even know what she
Stratton
looked like.
Street.
She was like
Remember?
me.
That,
And my grandmother.
across the
was-
street from the Elm City Laundry.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, there was a laundry there. A lot of people used to bring their laundry
You
there.
mean on Elm Street?
No, Scranton Street.
Okay.
Scranton Street.
Oh, that was, yeah.
Yeah, Elm City Laundry.
Who was
What?
Mrs. Bernstein?
Mrs. Bernstein. What was her first name?
I don't know. What was her
Don't
first
forget
name?
this, the step
Will.
test.
What was your grandmother's first
What's your
name?
grandmother's first name?
Kayla, Kate.
Kate.
Kate. In Jewish, it's Kayla.
What it is? I'm sure that's wrong. I think you heard it wrong.
I probably heard it wrong, you know.
I don't think it's Kayla. No, it's another name.
No,
Hey.
that sounds right to me. That sounds right to me.
It does?
Catherine Bernstein.
Yeah,
Yes,
Catherine.
Catherine.
Yeah. But they used to call her Kayla, all her Jewish friends.
Taylor?
Honey, did you remember Honey?
Oh, sure.
She used to go right by our house
Yes.
every day when she went to work.
Oh, I
She was a
remember.
nice
Where'd she
person.
work?
She worked somewhere downtown. She had a
Shartenberg's.
job.
Shartenberg's. I saw her working there.
Oh, I didn't
Where,
know.
where? I didn't know that.
One of the departments, I guess.
Tell us about the band.
The band. What band?
The, what did you call them?
I played in the Yale band one time.
Yale
No,
Collegiate,
before
you mean?
that.
Oh,
Yale Collegiate.
The Hialeah.
oh you know,
Sunday
you
Brothers.
mentioned Jamestown, New York. I played there. Lake Chautauqua.
You played
Top
Lake
one.
Chautauqua?
Isn't that what
The-
Cornell?
I think you were there.
I was
still.
there
Lake
last
No, it's
week.
Yeah,
Caillou.
yeah, Lake Chautauqua. That's where you're shooting, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
That's
we
an
were.
Indian name, isn't it?
Yes.
Chautauqua.
But tell us about the Hialeah. What did you call them?
Oh yeah, the first band I played with was the Hialeah Serenaders. And well, before then I played the fife.
The five. You played the five?
I played the fife
That's so.
in the Benton Street
School.
School. Yeah.
Huh.
Hooray for Benton. Yeah.
So,
Great
And,
for you.
they were all standing on the corner watching me play. I was looking
I
for
thought you
the-
played only the saxophone.
No.
No?
I started with the 5. Then
Oh.
I picked up an old trumpet in the ash can, and my mother, I made so much noise, my mother threw the trumpet downstairs again, so I had 2 bits.
So
It blew, it played. And the first lesson I took on the sax, I was playing it wrong before I was,
How could you play it? Was
Yeah.
bad? How could you play it?
before I had instruction.
Oh.
I was playing the F sharp, that's the highest note. I was playing that in the scale formation, and that was wrong.
Who'd you take lessons from?
I had 3 teachers, Cipriano, Frank Cipriano, you know him?
Yeah.
Gene
Do
Supreme.
you know him?
He's
I've
still.
heard the name.
Is he still around? I thought he was gone by this
No,
time.
Frank Cipriano. George Cosmer, who played in the Olympia, that was formerly Olympia Theater. It turned out to be, they changed the name to Paramount Theater. Is that
That's
still
right. That's
functioning?
right. It's still around.
Yeah. And I
knew my
went to all the
Temple Street.
stage shows.
Well,
What?
did you know Ken's trumpet teacher?
What was his name? Eddie.
Eddie
Brennan.
Brennan,
Eddie
sure, I
Brennan,
used to play
yeah.
along with him.
You did?
Yeah.
He gave me trumpet lessons down on Green Street, Greenwood. maybe?
Oh, yeah, it was near Sherman Avenue.
Greenwood Street.
Yeah.
That's Greenwood Street.
I wasn't familiar with it.
Eddie Brennan.
Eddie Brennan, yeah.
I remember he
I
played with the
remember him.
Schubert Theater, in the pit there.
He had a cousin too, Brennan, somebody.
What did I do with that picture that I showed you of my father interning at the hospital? I just showed it to Stuart. What did I do with
put
it?
it back in the drawer.
He was a little older than I was. I don't know how old. Is he still alive?
No, I think I read, within the
died?
last couple of years.
I used to do hand painted greeting cards. That's how I started with this hand painting business. Greeting cards, yeah.
When was this?
I'd make up a screen process, and I'd print them. There were so many of them. And he had several sons, didn't he? Vishnu.
Eddie Brennan?
Yeah, he had a couple of sons.
I have no idea.
Well, I had to put that on the card. Vishnu, I don't know, some other names. I can't remember them.
And they would buy them for Christmas?
Well, he bought them. He bought several of them for me. And all my friends, used to get cards.
That's nice.
I had
Yeah.
a studio in the Haven too,
Whereabouts?
Polite building,
Oh.
When was this?
1939,
When you called your mother,
1940.
did she answer the phone?
But
No.
go back and talk about the Hialeah Serenaders.
Say hello, Jim.
Yeah.
You said
Well, this drummer I knew, his name was Allie Dingwall.
Maybe I'll
Dingwall.
just write him a note.
So he picked up a drum that had Hialeah Serenaders written on it. So some band, a big drum, in those days there were big drums, one cymbal. And I remember some of the songs we used to play. Cock-a-doodle, I'm off my noodle.
Dr. Noodle, I'm off my noodle.
Yeah, cock-a-doodle, I'm off my noodle.
Oh.
My baby's coming home. I'd like that for a name. So that was the beginning. And every night, once a week, we used to meet at Ma's house, at our house.
Practice down in the cellar, yeah.
And I'd have the band over. All the kids would look in the window, and we had a 7-piece band. And our piano player, it was awfully hard to get. He'd come in from Fairhaven, and he was always late because he lived so far away.
Yeah.
He'd take a streetcar in.
And Estelle would make tea?
And so would oh, we'd have something
Leave
good.
that for a minute.
Cookies and lemonade or something. Very all soft drinks, of course. I'm through.
No, but you said that you would have all the neighborhood kids come in.
Oh no! All the kids would look in the
The
window.
window while they
Yeah.
were playing.
And there's one fat kid. He played saxophone. This is going back, and one of the nights we were rehearsing. We had a violin player, and then this fat kid would look in the window, and he said, "I play the saxophone. You want me to go home and get it?" So he
wanted to play
runs up
too.
the hill. Incidentally, I played with this fat kid. He became a leader in Hartford. He moved to Hartford.
That was the moment of.
So he could play pretty well.
Huh?
He could play pretty well.
The fat kid was not Halpern.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was around 1928. Did you get that?
That's a long time. Woo.
Well, I was a kid too.
Did you know any of the other famous people that made
No,
it
this
big?
is before the famous people on that.
Existed even.
Did anybody know Mike Todd, who was supposed to be from New Haven?
No, wasn't
My
I
it?
God.
heard of the name. I heard of
But he
the
had a different name when he was in New Haven.
When are they having a
Elizabeth
Benny
Taylor?
Goodman special, Will?
Huh?
Is that tonight? They're having a Benny Goodman special?
That's on Monday,
Monday?
next Monday.
What channel?
Listen to him, Benny
Public
Goodman
television.
special. 2 hours, so it ought to taken, his whole life practically.
What was so great about Benny Goodman?
He used to practice every day, and he was a very good player.
He was talented.
Huh?
He was talented.
Yeah.
He was talented too.
Yeah, he was.
He was also
You
white.
wanna
People
hear
could
a-
relate to him.
I was listening to Buddy Greco being interviewed on
Am I not true?
Larry
He
King.
sings.
Oh,
the
yeah.
other- and he was talking about having perfect pitch and saying that it got him into a lot of trouble because
That's what.
Benny Goodman would hire him and they'd be playing and afterwards Greco would say to Goodman, by the way, you missed that F sharp, a couple of bars back. And Goodman got rid of it in a real hurry, but he kept hiring it back. But apparently he had perfect pitch.
And Benny Goodman didn't?
I guess not.
Wow.
Well, when he came to Springfield, we have a very good symphony orchestra.
Yeah, really.
But they didn't have any rhythm.
Well, I was
No,
surprised that
yeah.
he came to play
So
with the symphony orchestra, and that wasn't what he was used to doing. So you can tell the rest of the story. What did he do? What he
Oh,
did?
he got pissed off or he got mad or something?
He just asked them not to play, and he played all by
oh, wait a minute, yeah, he told. I don't know what he
I
said.
think he
didn't
did
say
ask
much.
a drummer to play with him. But
Just a drummer. But no, he played alone
did
though.
he play alone?
Played
Benny Greco?
alone.
No, Benny Goodman. He
'Cause
couldn't stand it anymore, and
The
neither
beat
could we.
wasn't there. You
He
know,
couldn't stand the orchestra.
symphony player,
Had they
orchestra.
not
They
rehearsed?
got the beat.
That's the way he is,
No.
though. I mean, I've heard from
You
people
can't,
that he can get.
You can't have a symphony orchestra.
Well, they were doing a jazz thing or a classical thing? 'Cause
No,
he-
no.
Well, he wanted to
jazz.
play along his own bit.
Oh, a jazz thing.
Jazz.
It was all
Because he did play
jazz.
classical
Jazz.
music with orchestras.
Oh,
I don't
sure,
know.
because he did.
I don't know
do
what he played.
classical stuff.
Well,
No,
anyway,
he was doing a
they
jazz
just didn't
group.
have that beat in back of them,
Yeah.
so he couldn't play with them.
Right.
I mean, they had no beat, you know.
But they shouldn't have even tried to do something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Especially not
made
without
the
rehearsal.
band sound. Well, I guess the band was understood.
You know, I went last year, Bobby Short came to town, and I thought, oh, God,
One of
he's
my
not going
unfavorite
to have the
people.
symphony orchestra. Unfavorite
Mm.
personality-wise, but I
Yeah.
like his style. So he brought his own combo with him, of course, and it made all the difference in the world, although he didn't do too bad a job.
Goodman played with all these big times when he was 14, 15 years old.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Gene Goldman before Paul Whiteman. You've heard of Paul Whiteman. You did. You,
Through my father pulling him. He has a lot of records. I've never heard of him.
your
anybody
father
else.
liked.
Big spider
I
bag.
can't get started with you. Who?
Buddy Berrigan.
Bonnie Berrigan.
That was your father, one of your father's favorite records.
but Bunny couldn't sing too good. But he sang anyway.
Yeah, style.
One of your father's favorite records was beautiful. I don't know who recorded it or what, but it was terrific. And he asked us if we could get him a copy of it. At that time it was a record he wanted. And we looked all over, we finally found it. And just before we were going to come down to New Haven, Will dropped the record or some damn thing and smashed it.
No, your father dropped my record, Coleman Hawkins, by his soul.
Oh, I thought you brought beautiful.
No, I didn't break
You
any
know.
records.
Well, we brought
I was
something.
very careful.
You may be.
No.
Oh, no.
But I mean, I don't know, when you listen to them, they just, maybe Benny Goodman was, I mean, just when they play, the lines are just like, they just flow naturally. You know
I'll
what
tell
I
you
mean?
the difference.
Yeah,
People like that, the people who, at least I put them above me, maybe it's just because I don't understand exactly how it comes off so easy,
I know. I keep wondering, some of the greats I think never took any lessons. Did Art Tatum ever take a lesson?
Well, he's very schooled and very,
Maybe he did.
you know what I mean? I'm talking, he wasn't bad, but he
Well, Big
had a-
Spiderbeck is a good example. Big Spiderbeck is a good example. He was just like came full blown out of Davenport, Iowa.
that
Of course,
kind
he
of.
did.
I heard a saxophone player in New
Right.
Haven who reminded me of that. It just seemed so natural, the way he
I'm
played,
sure.
and effortless kind of, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was all interesting,
Yeah.
and there was, and it didn't sound like, I don't
They're
know,
true originals.
something.
Can you tell the
Who was it?
difference between Artie Shaw and Benny Goodman?
Oh yeah, sure. Oh, there's,
Artie has, well, he slurs a lot of his notes, Artie does, and Goodman
Pete Fountain.
has more syncopation.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pete
Did you
Fountain
know
was nice.
Shaw at all?
I like to
Did your
listen to
paths
him.
cross
Yeah.
at all?
Huh?
Did you know Artie Shaw at all?
No, but he borrowed my clarinet once. I didn't know him. Milton Banker let him take it. He used to play with him.
was
Milton
he
Banker.
supposed to be good at mathematics?
Oh,
Artie Shaw?
yes,
No, Milton Banker. Is that Diddy Banker?
No, it's Milton Banker.
Milton Banker.
I don't know.
Michael always says.
All right, we won't.
Eat a nectarine.
What's that?
I already played that. Let's see, what else do I know?
It's a he.
Oh, it is?
You hear him crying.
Yeah.
You know I can't get started? You don't want to play that.
What was that song you said he was playing before? What was that song you said John was playing before? I Fall in Love So Easily. John, were you playing a song called I Fall in Love So Easily?
Yeah.
Wilfred recognized it immediately.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
You just ruined the shot.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's no big deal.
See, I pulled off that.
Oh,
And that isn't, oh no, I can't play it. I don't like that at all. I mean, it isn't even attractive.
Terrible.
It's not even musical.
yeah, well, it's I got a lot of stuff.
So, I never, ever did. When I went to visit my mother, naturally, when I went out in the afternoon, my mother would, I'd have the children at her house, she would be with them.
Yeah.
But I never went on a trip anywhere. And my father wouldn't allow it, so I never thought.
But don't you think in the long run that was very good for you? Because now you're a very successful person.
I do feel.
You run a house beautifully.
No, I don't.
You
But
do.
I feel that I feel that I can cope.
Yeah.
And I also worked for someone when I was young, in between school and the summer. I worked for a woman who was equally a disciplinarian. It was in an insurance company, and I had some little nothing kind of a job. But she was strict as could be, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
So that I never was able to make an excuse. Whatever happened, whether I did the good job or I didn't rely on anybody else to do it for me. And that was only because I couldn't get away with anything at home.
The only thing I'm thinking of is,
I
I mean,
wanna be
how
just
much
like
is
that.
it an illusion, what you're saying? Or is it just a generational difference that's always there? I mean, you know, you say, oh, it was different back in your father's day and their parents' day. Well, it was, but possibly people can be looking back and saying, well, it was different in your day.
Yes,
You know,
sure.
I mean, how much of that is a real difference and how much is just the way it is, you know?
I think that what went on as far as what I had to experience with my father was what I say. What is different is that no one has ever lived in a world like today. This is a whole different world from what I grew up in. There's never been anything like this.
It's true.
This is a world that no one's ever known before.
That's right.
See, when I was young, when my mother was young and all, you went from one generation to another, and the same things happened all the time. The world was the
But what
same.
makes you think that doesn't still happen, that the same things don't happen? I happen to think they probably do.
Well, now there's a lot more drugs around.
Well, no, I think that...
I'm not just
That's
any
true, there
one
is
thing.
No. I
People
feel-
still have to get up, put their pants on, and
Oh, no, I
you
don't
know,
mean,
do.
but I mean, there's a lot of permissiveness. Well,
Yeah.
I also will say, in bringing up my children, I was not the strict disciplinarian that my father was. And I feel that I don't think I did such a great job.
You did a wonderful job.
I think
Believe
that I
me, you
have
did.
I remember that,
wonderful
Stu.
Wonderful boys.
You had to go to work, and they were out of control anyway. Right?
And
Oh, with all due
two
respect.
bright boys.
They had their own
turned out to be
plans.
wonderful
Yeah.
boys.
It certainly
But it
did.
was not...
I fight for
I
it.
think maybe it was because my parents lived with us. And my father, Stuart respected, and so did my father. They didn't dare get
All
out
right, so
alone.
you turned out well, they turned out well,
That's
and
right.
your
And
father had a completely different approach than yours, so it doesn't seem to make a hell of a lot of difference, maybe.
Well, I don't know
You
about
know.
today, because today, like the young people who work for me and all, they've already been married and divorced twice. They've had a child with one man, and they've married another man, they live with this one. That's a different thing.
That's changed, sure.
And also the drug bit, where now so they smoke pot, all right, so they
It's
take
worse than
cocaine.
ever now.
Okay. And I feel that we have had to accept a lot of things. I mean, the business of the relationship of living together, that was a jolt for us who were brought up in a very regimented kind of like you didn't do that sort of thing. That we didn't even leave our homes until we got married. Today,
Right.
kids, 19 years old, have their own apartment, they're independent, they do what they want. Statistics say that, I don't know what the percentage of teenagers in high school are pregnant.
Right.
Not that they weren't when I was in high school too, but it might have been one girl in the class. Now and you don't think about it, because you know everybody's died dead if anybody was pregnant.
Right.
Today, it's acceptable, you're sorry, and it's too bad if this thing isn't working, but okay. And I feel it really is a whole different thing. Your whole viewpoint is different.
Yeah.
I think that, in a way, I think that a lot of it is better than it was. I think accepting these things and not being so rigid about a lot of things is better. But I think that we're going overboard now. I think that if young people, learn to discipline themselves so that they took on a task and they really finished it, whatever it was, they find themselves to be more satisfied.
I always feel better when I'm working on things and I have a schedule and I get up and I do this thing and I do that thing, then I go work out, and that's my day, and I really planned it and done whatever I wanted to accomplish.
When you first started working there, were they set up?
I worked there about 12 years. I think it was about 12 years. Switchboard operator. I'll tell you an incident. I took care of switchboard calls. And there was one girl working there, Myrtle Bilgore. She loved to put calls into New York. And when I got the bill, I noticed they wouldn't tally. So I went to my Uncle Mo. I said, Uncle Mo, there's a couple of calls from New York. I think it was from Myrtle Bilgore calling New York. But she never paid for the calls. So I said, what do you want me to do? So he says, you go tell her about it. So I did. And she didn't like it. So she said to him, how do you know? So he says, my niece told me. He fired her.
Really?
Yeah, because she didn't come forward to pay the bill that she went to put a call in for.
No, this guy is.
So I felt bad because I was in charge of the phone calls, and I reported to the boss. After all, he was my boss. He and Uncle Nate was my boss. I had to report things to him. So one time it got so hard there that I said to my Uncle Mo, Uncle Mo, I said, you know, you're the worst uncle I've got. I felt terrible because after that he got sick. He was quite sick.
What happened?
So I went to my grandmother, his mother, and I said, Grandma, Uncle Mo, I told Uncle Mo that he's the worst uncle. So she says, why did you do that? I said, because he didn't believe me that I checked those phone calls. So I felt so bad. He was sick. So before he died, I apologized to Uncle Mo. I said, please forgive me. I didn't mean it. So he says, I know. I never forgot it to this day that I was so mean to him. And my Uncle Nate said, so I left my job, and then I told my mother. So Uncle Nate says, come back to work. He says, we liked your work. I said, no, but Uncle Mo didn't treat me right. I never went back.
Where did you go from there?
I went from there across the street, the automobile place, the Auto Electric was the name of the company. And I also was there, switchboard operator, filing and things like that. I got a good job. The girls liked me, and I was the only Jew there. The man that ran was the partner to the company there. He was German. When the Jewish holidays came around, I took it off. And the German, Mr. I've got his name now, German. He says, we got another Jewish person here. He was in the department in the back there. I forgot now. So he said, how's it he doesn't take it off? I says, I don't care about him, but I'm Jewish, I'm taking it off. So his partner was half Jewish, Mr. Haberfeld. He says, Claire, take it off. I know. Jewish holidays mean a lot to me. He says, I can't take it off because I'm married to a German. She don't believe in the Jewish people. So I took it off. After all, I was entitled to it. I'll never forget it. I had a good job there, but then I think they went out of business or something. I don't know what happened. And I worked for a printing company. I worked a long time. I was a proofreader, bookkeeper, in charge of everything. At the time, Yale University was making the literary digest, I think it was. Not the literary digest. The Yale Lit. So I used to do the proofreading, and that's where I had to start wearing glasses because the print was so small that I had to get into glasses afterwards. Otherwise, I took care of the proofreading I did the bookkeeping. I did everything there. And the man afterwards went into, moved his business to out State Street, went under the City Printing Company. It's a good company I worked for. But the man liked women. So he wanted me to go out with him. I said, I will not. So I told my mother about it. I said, Mom, I'm not going to work there anymore. So my mother called his wife, and she said, I know my husband is that way. He likes all ladies. Short, tall, all kinds. So I said, so after a while he changed his mind. He says, okay, Claire, come back, because I was doing all that work and I wasn't getting very much. And that was one of my first jobs on State Street.
So
An old building and everything. Anyway, I don't know where I went from there. I don't think I worked at any other place.
How'd you meet your husband? What was his name?
Sam Eric. I had a birthday party at my house. We had a few fellows coming over, and I met him one day. I was waiting for a bus on the corner. He had his mother in the car. He had an old Dodge, one of the first Dodge cars. And he says, where are you going? I says, I'm going downtown. He says, well, you come in the car. He says, I'll take you wherever you want to go. He says, I have to take my mother downtown. So I went in the car. He introduced me to his mother. She's a nice woman. It's the first time I met her. And then the next time I had a date with him, he says, you know, my mother likes you. I think I'll marry you. I didn't like that. And that's the only guy that I saw after that. He had a good job. He was a machinist and toolmaker in Winchester's. You know, when Olin Mathewson. He was 45 years as a toolmaker. So I went with him, and I worked 2 years after I was married. And then we got married, and we traveled a lot. He liked to travel in the car. We went, where did we go? We went to Nantucket. We went to Cape Cod. And then we went to where's it? Montreal, Canada, Ottawa, Canada. We traveled a lot. And then afterwards, we stopped going, and we went to small places around the city in New Haven.
You always drove.
Yeah, he drove the car, but he was on the stocky side. Liked to smoke a lot, and he had a lot of fluid in him. Fluid filled up on his legs, up here too. And they took him to the hospital, and I didn't even know he had a heart attack. The doctor said that he had a heart attack, and that's how he died.
A couple of other guys hitting some tennis balls.
We were married quite a long time.
So I now have a tape for
And that was it.
What year did you get married?
Oh, and
I never see myself on film hitting a tennis ball.
let's see. I don't know. I think it was 39, 1939.
20 years ago.
We had no children. He didn't like children anyway, so it was just as well.
And where did you go on your honeymoon? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. We went to, you know, the Hotel McAlpin in New York used to be at one time, Hotel McAlpin. He only had 4 days. That's all he was able to take, 4 days. We spent in New York, saw a few shows, and we came home because he had to take only 4 days off, so that's how it was. And then we lived in an apartment on George and Sherman. No, Sherman and Edgewood.
Do this, do that, and you're assuming
For 12 years. It was a flat roof, and we had to go out after we had our dinner at night. We had to go out because it got so hot on the roof that it was impossible to go to sleep. So we went down the beach until it got dark, cooled off a little bit, and then we came home.
This was near the beach?
No, this was in the city. This was in the city here. And then after we lived there 12 years, there was a place across the street from us that was empty, and the man that owned the apartment said, I have an apartment, I'll give you a month's rent free. So we went there, and then afterwards we went to, we decided to go to look for a house. That's how we got this house here. We moved in September 12th, 1952. So I've been there since 36 years. And my husband is gone since 1972. In January he died.
The best of the crowd, so
1972.
that's a good time to sort of
It's a
compare
long time.
who wins that. But
Well-
who was, I did see the final of the US Open.
When you
Nylander.
were growing up, you went to all the public schools.
No, I graduated public Webster School. I graduated. We had a store on George Street that I used to help my father because the children from the school used to come in and buy candy and all that. So I asked permission from the principal whether I can stay with my father until the last bell. And the principal said yes. His name was Mr. Clark. So he says, go ahead, Claire. And when I left my father's store, I took a handful of candy to bring it in. I brought candy and put it on each one of the desks. The kids loved it.
You took that from your father's store?
Yeah, sure.
What was it? A grocery?
Yeah, we had everything. The only trouble is that store didn't have a cellar. And my father got rheumatism from it because he had to stand on a board from the dampness from the basement. There was no basement there. It was all damp. So,
One of the top 10.
You couldn't break into the top three.
say that you put the board there so my father was able to stand on it.
But I guess this new guy.
When I graduated public school, I went to commercial high and graduated in 1922,
So I'm going to spend the next
Right to work.
where I could work, sure. My father and mother had built their home on Sherman Avenue, 86 Sherman. The house next to them was an apartment owned by my grandparents. It was called the Berkeley Apartment.
The Armitage
Rupert knows. It's called the Berkeley Apartments.
What was it like working for the Goldmans?
It was all right until I had those incidents. But I was sorry afterwards what I said to him.
Oh, really? Well, how many of the brothers were in the business?
2, Mo and Nate. Uncle Lou had a place in Bridgeport. At the beginning he was with them.
What kind of place?
Automobile place. He was an automobile man too.
And how about, what was the name of Nate's place?
Whaley Motors.
And what was, then there was Ben.
Ben had a place at 139 Church Street.
What was that?
A law business, a law office. He had a couple of partners with him, and then when Uncle Ben died, David came in for a while in his office, and then he moved to next door to Estelle on Whitney Avenue. He's in with a partner now, David Goldman.
Did you, when you were working at the dealership, did they ever have you come to the house or to parties or family?
Oh yeah, sure. Of course, we were the family. After all, my mother was a Goldman, so she was included in everything. At the time it was Passover, my grandparents had a Seder for the whole family. Wilfred, do you remember when Grandma and Grandpa had the Seder? The Seder. The Seder. When we had a Seder. And we're all there. And then when my grandparents died, Uncle Mo said to my mother, Annie, it's too much for you. We won't have it anymore. Otherwise, they used to have it every year. And I used to help them. Yeah, and we used to come to my grandma's every Saturday. It was a wonderful family. I miss them so much. But life's got to go on just the same. You know, the old ones go on, the young ones come up, and the young ones get old. That's life. There's nothing you can do about it. But you got to take it gracefully. It's the only way.
Tell me about your grandmother and grandfather.
Oh, they were wonderful. I used to call my grandmother Bubby, and she never liked it. She says, call me Grandma. And then my grandfather I used to call Zadie. He said, no Zadie, Grandpa. And they used to walk arm in arm to the synagogue every Saturday morning. And then when he come home, he went for a schnapsel. You know what a schnapsel is? A glass of whiskey. He'd love his whiskey.
On Saturday or other times?
No Saturday or any time.
Then what did he do?
My grandfather, he didn't do anything.
I haven't heard of it in a while.
He never had. Well, at the beginning when they lived on Prince Street, 58 Prince Street, 64 Prince Street, we were at 58 Prince Street. That's where Uncle George, your grandfather had an office in my mother's living room.
Well, you know,
He had his office there?
Yeah, his first office was in my mother's living room.
I was telling them
Didn't Estelle give your mother a booklet of when he started and everything? Well, it's all in there.
How did your grandfather support
and
himself?
I started hearing
Well, I don't know. I don't remember now.
the way she played, and I just
He was a little bit. Oh, he had the trucking business years ago. They were in the trucking business, horses and trucks. And they used to deliver merchandise in the city when they lived at 64 Prince Street. We were right next door. We were 58 and they were 64.
I like
Uncle Ben started his office at his mother's house at 64 Prince Street. His office was in the front. I used to go in every day to see him because I went to Prince Street School then too. See, I went Prince Street School, Webster School, and then Commercial High.
So what would happen when you went in to see him?
Well, we talk different things. He liked me because I was the oldest of his grandchildren. My brother, my brother and myself were the two oldest grandchildren through his daughter.
Oh wait, what was your grandfather's name was?
Well, in Europe he had another name, I understand. Galacta, something like that. Estelle had it all in her book. And then they changed it to Goldman, Harris Goldman. His name was Harris Goldman.
And George had his X-ray machine in the
Oh, on Park Street. He had an office on Park Street. That's when let's see, Park and Chapel is where he had his office. When my husband and I before we got married, we went into him to get the blood test. Uncle George says, you come into my office, I'll check your blood before you get married. So we did, we went in there. He wouldn't charge us for it, naturally. I'm his niece. And I had a home wedding. I was married in my mother's home. And my Aunt Sarah, Uncle Mo's wife, helped me get dressed. And then we had, we had about 150 people. We had it all in the front there. And then my sister-in-law's in-laws were down that day and drove us in their car to New York, where we were able to stay at the Hotel McAlpin. We were there 4 days.
Now, you said that George set up his office in your
my mother's living room.
What was that like?
Very nice. My mother had a nice big living room, and that's where he set his office up.
So he would have people come in?
Yeah. Oh, he had a lot of people coming in there.
And was he was examining him?
Yeah.
So, what happens when you wanted to have dinner?
Oh, we had a kitchen. We had about 4 or 5 rooms we had there. It was a little house. It was very nice. We were all fenced in the front. It was very nice.
Very exciting. But I
And my father was in the vegetable business. That's where he had his truck and horse and wagon first, then he got into a truck. He bought his first truck from his brother-in-law's, Clydesdale. He bought a Clydesdale truck.
I didn't finish him. So you must have had a lot of fresh vegetables.
Oh, yes. He went right to the market. He'd get this stuff in the market.
I don't listen to it. I don't know.
What do you think of New Haven today as opposed to...
Oh, what a change. It's a big change for New Haven.
Well, how so?
Well, conditions are still very bad. Of course, the people are still homeless. They live on the street. They have no place to go. They can't afford to pay the rent that they're charging now. It's pretty tough for those that haven't got the means to pay.
Was it like that when you were a kid?
No, it's a little better now, naturally. But if you haven't got any money, you can't get anywhere.
Well, what would you tell somebody who is homeless and needs to make a lot of money?
Well, try to first see that you should be well, and then you're able to get a job if you're well enough to go out to look for it. Then you have to have an education. You go to school to get a diploma, and you have more of a chance of getting a good job. Right?
Anything else that I missed?
No, not that I know of.
Well,
Tomorrow, Buddy Mark.
He's the
I suppose, and I pray every night.
you do.
Every night I pray, and I'm thankful I'm up the next day.
I know there was
It
a guy
helps, you'd
that-
be surprised. I say my prayers every night.
Well, how many hours do you sleep?
He died.
How many hours? Not too much. I don't sleep very well at night. I have to take a Tylenol to fall asleep at night. I go to bed about 9:30 every night. And I'm up a little after 7, but during the night I may have to get off the bathroom. You know, nature calls, you gotta go. Right?
You used to play with Sonny Berman? New Haven.
But I don't mind being alone.
Sonny Berman.
I got a bus on my corner that takes me wherever I want to go. I go out and buy what I need. I don't spend unless I need to spend. I shop once a week. I have a very lovely neighbor across me takes me every week to shop. I have a carriage that I put out every Thursday morning near my home. And when we come back from shopping, I open the gate and they put my merchandise in the carriage and I wheel it into the house.
So that's taken care
So it
of.
makes it nice. Yeah. And I'm thankful that I have such good neighbors.
That would help a lot.
Who are your neighbors?
Oh, they're very nice. The people that take me, the Mandevilles, and next door to me are the Graces. Wonderful people.
There's a lot of musicians.
Well, how did they help you?
Well, by taking me shopping, I repay them. When I make anything, I bring it into them. I make blintzes. They love blintzes. And if I bake a cake, I bring in a cake in appreciation for what they take me.
You sound great.
So they won't take money. It is nice to even give them money. So I know they like blintzes. I bring them in blintzes.
Oh, yeah?
I make my own.
Yeah.
Do they have children or?
No, they have no children. Oh, the Mandevilles have no children. And the Graces have children and grandchildren. They live right next door. In fact, she has a key to my house, the Graces. Should I get locked out sometimes, and I go and get the key to let me in.
Has that ever happened?
Oh, it happened a few times. I had not realized that I didn't have my keys with me, so I had to go in and get their keys and then bring them back to them. My brother has a key to the house, and so does Stanley.
You know Sal Libro?
Stanley Goldman has a key to the house.
Libro, Sal Libro?
How's your brother?
He's younger than you.
How's your brother?
Libro.
He's pretty good. He calls me every Saturday morning, 9:30.
Libro.
What's his name?
Libro.
William
Goldman Libro,
William F.
Sal Libro.
Stoloff. He's very nice. Thank God for him, and thank God for me.
Most of them are dead.
Now, is he still working?
Well, he's, let's see, he's only part-time, sells wholesale groceries. But he has a peculiar neighborhood where there's all Spics, the Spaniards. And he has a lot of trouble with them. They don't want to pay their bills. They want the merchandise, but they don't want to pay the bills.
Yeah.
So, you mean he supplies the groceries?
Yeah, he gets orders, takes orders from them, and then the men deliver it. The wholesale people deliver the orders.
Does he,
He has an apartment. He's in Brooklyn. His wife has gone, let's see, about 8 or 9 years now. He has grandchildren. He's got a son and a daughter, and he's got 7 grandchildren. He made up for me, in other words. I got a lot of nice nieces and nephews.
Did you ever hear from them?
Oh, yes.
Now, how often do you see Bill?
Well, I saw him about a year or so ago. He wanted me to sell my house and go live with him. I said, no, thank you. I wouldn't be around here, to tell you the truth, if I lived there with him.
How come?
Well, because he'd make a housekeeper out of me. I'd have to clean his place up, and no, thank you. It's enough I clean my own.
Is he a slob?
No, but you know how a man is. Man don't care where he cleans or he doesn't clean. Right?
Right.
Ha, hello.
I thought it was the other way around.
No. He goes with a very nice woman now. Well, let's see, it's gone a little over 10 years. Companionship. She's a nice person. I write to her occasionally. She calls me up on the phone. It's very nice.
How old is she?
Let's see. She's in her 60s.
Oh, a younger woman.
No, she's about 65. My brother's 87. He was in April.
Are you going to, let's see.
Well, it's been nice speaking with you.
The same here, always. I hope this is not the end of our friendship.
Oh, no, not at all.
I hope that we'll see you more often, and that I'll be around to tell you whatever you want to know, if my mind keeps as well as it does.
Oh, your mind is a lot sharper than most people I know.
Really?
You should, we should get directions to your house.
Oh, I'd love to have you come. It's very simple.
Next time we're
Once you
driving
get
by.
in New Haven, it's very simple.
Take it off.
I've got a niece now in West Palm Beach. My brother's daughter.
Why, but you've never been on,
I'm scared. I really am. Unless they blindfold me. I don't know. But I've never been on one. Well, you hear so much about accidents and all. How can you go when you hear so much airplanes getting into explosions and everything else? Who wants to go? I'd rather be on the ground. But then again, it's not safe there either, they say. So you can go out for a walk and so you can get killed. You know that I got mugged in 1981. And I'll never forget the day I did. I can't even see how crooked that hand is yet. I had both wrists cut right in half. That's why I wear my wristwatch on my right hand. See?
well, I wrote a letter to the mayor and I heard about that.
You did?
Yeah,
So what'd you get out of it?
I never got an answer.
See? At least I got something out of it. My cousin David got me from the State Department, I think.
What happened?
Well, he wrote him and told him all I went through. I was more than 10 days in the hospital, and I cost me plenty in the hospital. Then I had a colored woman working for me from Montgomery, Alabama, that stole for me. I paid her $300 a week for 8 weeks. And she only looked for her salary every week.
Goodbye.
Oh, you going?
We gotta
Bye,
go.
darling.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Have a good winter.
Yeah,
good
you
winter.
too. You too.
Drop me a
Stuart.
line once in a while.
I'd like we should both come down.
That's right.
That'd
I'd
be
love
good.
to have
Good to
you.
see you.
While I'm still around, who knows?
Exactly.
You don't know from one day to the other.
You don't know. You're
That's
right.
right.
That's right. Well, have a good trip back.
You too.
Okay.
Nice seeing you. Always nice to see you.
It's always
I
nice to
always
see you too.
ask Mother, how is Matthew?
And she says he's busy.
Yeah. Well, it's good to keep busy.
Oh yeah.
The only way.
Yeah.
That's why I try to keep busy too.
It's the only way to do
Keep
it.
out of mischief.
Yeah. Keeps you out of trouble
Keeps
too.
you alert.
Where are you going?
I have to go home.
Why?
The babies are waiting for him. Right?
Yeah. All the little piglets.
You gonna be around tomorrow?
I'm gonna call Mom about that. I have a van to bring in. I have a van to bring in to be repaired, a guitar to bring up to be repaired, a club to set up, and a banquet. I mean a class reunion to set up at a banquet house, all in one day.
So we won't be seeing you tomorrow.
No, maybe you will. I'll call you.
Take care now.
Nice to see you.